Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Quantum Lounge. It's a group of like-minded and like-hearted friends that meet every week. And we always have a quantum conversation about life, about who we are, and deep discussions. So tonight's episode, we are going to talk about imagination. Albert Einstein said imagination is more powerful than knowledge. And I totally agree. So I'm going to open it up to anybody who'd like to start talking about it.
I'll lead off. With regards to knowledge, it usually refers to past knowledge, what you've learned up until now, whereas imagination can take you anywhere. And with our consciousness, we can go anywhere on the planet. And the people on the call here are from all over, really, with different backgrounds, different talents. But as far as imagination is concerned, I would shorten it to the song Imagine by John Lennon, because I think that says it all. And if you listen closely to the words, there's the blueprint for everything. Let consciousness be your guide, and let that connection to spirit inform you, guide you through whatever you have to do.
Imagine all the people living life in peace. You sing it. Woo! Thank you, Alan. I would totally agree with that. And Albert Einstein had it right, didn't he?
I'll pick it up from there because I think imagination, like we going in school, imagination isn't taught. Maybe creativity to some degree, a little bit of art, but we maybe our parents teach us to use our imagination when we're playing outside, and we want a new toy, and it's like, oh, well, use your imagination. Maybe that was more for our generation, but using your creative capacities isn't really encouraged in school. So growing up, we're kind of conditioned and programmed, well, you got to do this and you got to get a job and you got to do that, and you need money, and then so we start, it's when we're young, the whole world is our oyster, and then it's constantly made smaller and smaller. It's like our imagination gets pressed in on us, and we don't really believe that anything's possible, but it truly is. And it's like, so what would you do with your life if money was no object? Because it isn't. It's a man-made thing that represents energy exchange. So it's like, how can we bring that back to everybody's life? How can we truly, like, if you had the best version of yourself at the end of your life, that money, anything was not an object, what would that look like, and how can we get there? And truly without limit, what does that look like? And because a lot of people, I think we're afraid to tell what our deepest imaginings are, because they might seem unreasonable. And then, if you do that at a young age, then it's like, well, people say, well, that's not reasonable, or that's just Pollyanna, or that's just wishful thinking. So then it cramps us down, and our aura, our imagination gets small again. But I think we're coming through a period in time right now where it's time to expand that back up. And I think we all share that on the call each week, right?
Thanks, Rob. Mira, what would you like to say?
Well, first of all, everything that we bring to this reality is created twice. First, we create something in our mind, we imagine it, and then we work on it to bring it into this reality. So my understanding is that imagination is not something foreign or something made up or not real. My understanding is that imagination is basically us tapping into some other realities, seeing things that already exist and are existable in our reality, and we try to bridge that and bring those things into our reality. So imagination is very powerful, because I strongly believe that whatever we imagine, we can absolutely make it reality, because if it wasn't possible to bring it to life in this world and this life, we wouldn't be able to imagine it. So, and then if we are able to imagine something, then just believe it is true, it is existable and work on it, and it will definitely come to life in this world.
Thank you, Mira. There's a saying that in the quantum world, if you are not amazed by quantum physics, you do not quite understand. Because quantum physics is showing us the essence of who we are, that we are part of the universe itself. So when you imagine something, when you are highly in joy of an imagination, it will change your emotion. Your emotion will change your frequency, your vibration, and bring that into being. And all the great masters have told us we are connected to this universal energy. This is what we should be teaching children from the time they're born. It's the most important thing we can do for our children.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. I agree.
I was going to say, to me, imagination used to be something that was only like a dream or a fantasy that you don't talk to anybody about it, because imagination was just your own thing. Because I just grew up with all these limitations that they're just a dream. It's just your own fantasy. But now, from what I've been reading and following these great speakers and like Joe Dispenza and stuff, and I noticed, like, when I start imagining and believing it, that I am a creator, I find things start manifesting. So instant manifestation starts with imagination.
Very, very true. Yeah.
Imagine all the people
Living
That's
in
a beautiful.
for today. And we only manifest in the now. So, as Mira spoke about the mind, if you are dwelling on the past, if you are worried about the future, wherever your attention goes, energy flows. So if your attention is in the now, the only moment there is, flowing, it's bringing that
Yep.
to you.
Yeah, but I had a quick
Yeah.
question, kind of as a fellow magician. When I was a kid, that was something that really drew me to magic, was the imagination of what was possible. And I always believed in absolute real magic. And it was like the tricks that I was learning, I knew that, you know, it's like, but I always believed there was some greater thing. And as we're realizing now, there is such more magic to the world that we're discovering. But how did that relate to you and becoming a magician and using your imagination?
I loved it, you know, back when I was a little kid, of course, and then later, you know, it was a great way to pick up girls. But
Yeah,
I'm
but
joking, but it was sort of. But the bottom line was, but you know, it was funny. I really learned the power of it when I would, you know, have girlfriends who I would do something for them and they would be amazed, and they would be like, how did you do that? How did you do that? And, you know, I'd never tell them. And then TMI moment, I'm warning you. And then they'd withhold sex and I would tell them how it was done. And, you know, and then the whole thing would just drain out of there. All the amazement would just drain out of them. And they're like, oh, that's all it was. And it really ruined it for them. So like, I never gave away secrets, not because I was like trying to, you know, ego thing, hold on to the secrets, because I knew it ruined it for people. But, you know, I was studying and I was learning a lot of spirituality and, you know, the Seth books and things back when I was younger. That was what was available. Richard Bach, those kind of things. And I just got to a point where I loved doing the magic as a metaphor. Because even though there's a trick to everything that I do believe you can create your own reality and you can create magic in your own life. And so I love doing that as a metaphor for people. And, you know, when I do my magic, it's not mine. I don't like say the magic word and, ooh, look what I can do. You know, I let them do the magic. You know, quite often they'll wave their hands. And, you know, with the kids, the magic word is Hakuna Matata, you know, which is a real African word. It's Swahili, so Disney can't sue me for using it. But the bottom line is that I let them do the magic and they say the magic word or whatever magic word they like. And it gives them that feeling, you know, and then they'll be like, whoa. And I'll look at them and go, how did you do that? And I love it. And it really empowers, you know, so yeah.
Beautiful, Kevin. It's so true. We're all magicians. We're all playing. The universe is like Play-Doh or plasticine, as we'd say in England. And we can mold that plasticine, that Play-Doh with our mind. Because we're living, this is heaven. This planet is heaven. It's only the human mind that's taking heaven away. But we're bringing it back again when we understand that we are the magicians. We are the power. You are the power.
Yep. Yep. And it's funny you mentioned that, Carl. I didn't mean to jump with this, but it's important because I question myself at why I create certain things. I lost my big right toe. Why did I do that? Why did I create that? And I've got an idea, but I'm not going to get into it because it's pretty deep. But that has always perplexed me, why we create the negatives. And I guess it's all good in the long run. We all have to learn. So we're getting lessons from it.
That is an interesting one, Kevin, isn't it? It is very interesting. But a lot of us, why do we create that? I think sometimes we do create by default, but it is an interesting one. Maybe we'll have a topic just about that in a future edition of the Quantum Lounge.
That'd be great.
Well, if you think about it, we're here at this moment, and everything that's happened to us and is in our past has led us to this moment. So it's amazing when you look at it from a larger view, how it's just like stepping stones, nothing good, nothing bad. It's just
Yep.
What's amazing is, when we were even talking about the song Imagine, what even in quantum physics, the power in music. And I've been just really struck by that this week, on just taking music and songs and taking them to their simple form and realizing that there's a simple formula in most music that we hear. And once we realize that, it's almost like the intelligence is out there. We can grab it at any time, and every tone has an intelligence. And I know Alexander Soltis Jones wrote an incredible book, The Mansions of Color, which talks about that. And I've learned so much. And just when I play piano and I have the ability to close my eyes and just feel the music, I have so many visions. I see the most incredible things in my mind's eye, which tells me that, really the power starts with the imagination, and then what goes from there can really manifest into material things and materialism and whatever, just something you can see. But yeah, I'm excited to share music, and I would be really interested to hear some of the songs that have been really impressed on any of you, because I do believe that I wake up with music, and I believe that the intelligence in certain music, it really can communicate and help us channel. So yeah.
It's a kind of magic. It's a kind of magic. One dream, one soul, one prize, one goal. That was a very magical song. One golden glance of what could be. It's a kind of magic.
Now, do you know the different notes, the chords in that song? Because that's an unusual kind of turn of tonality. And so, yeah, it takes you on a journey.
What's interesting that every word we speak has a vibration. Not just your thoughts are a vibration. Every word you speak, you're speaking it to the universe. And the universe is going to mirror you. You have to understand that. The universe is a mirror to your imagination.
It's a spell, Carl. You're putting out a spell, man. You're like it's pretty wild. And Anna, that's true too. Like it's so cool. Like even just putting it in the music for me is like just makes it so much more fun. Like you have the dramatic ups and downs of all the chords, and you get the tones that make you feel good, and then you get those tones that like bring you down, but it's that duality like that we're living right now that's so beautiful. It's just like the emotions that we go through playing this music, and listening to music. This whole reality is just we are human beings. Basically we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and it's just beautiful to just like live it out and love it. One of my favorite songs is "I Love My Life" by Robbie Berman, and just the energy of that song. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that song, but just the idea of just saying every day, I love my life, and whatever comes up, I just love what comes up, because I believe, like Albert Einstein said, you got a choice every day. You could choose to believe we live in a hostile universe, or we believe we can live in a friendly universe. And I believe everything's happening for me. It's a friendly universe where everything's happening for us. And if it's a little bit challenging, what's the lesson, right? So that's what
I think it's an important thing as well for anyone who's watching to understand that the news media will truly cause stress and stop that imagination, because where there's fear, that it's a low vibration, and you're not going to be able to imagine. You're going to be in fear and stress and worry. Switch off that news media.
Well, that's a good point, Carl. But I think more than that, and we've talked about it a lot, like on our private calls, you're imagining what they want you to imagine at that point, because it's like, well, you see photos of, as a photographer and videographer, it's like there could be a beautiful field with an amazing sunset over there, but over here there's a car that's on fire because there's a little skirmish going on, and you're focusing on that, and there's war over here, and then you're imagining, oh my God, it's horrible, the world's falling apart. You're using your imagination to create a false reality, or exaggerating a reality that's not truly your reality. So imagination can be used both ways, so we have to be conscious of how we're directing it.
The Matrix was a documentary. It was not a movie. It was a documentary.
Carl, I'd just like to talk about Mike. He plays the spinal cord. And if you take a look at that skeleton part, it's a lot like the fret of a ukulele or a guitar. So that's very interesting. I just wanted to add that. Use your imagination.
Mira has her hand up, I think, too. Did she want to jump back in?
Do you want to say something again, or is that from before, Mira? Your hand is up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add what's really magical about imagination is that your mind and your body don't really know what's real and what's not real. So you can watch a happy movie and feel happy and rejuvenated, or you can just have a really good imagination and take yourself to a happy place and change your mood and emotions completely, and your body will follow. It's very powerful. I know some men, like they say they can meditate and think about their running and really doing exercise, and their body would sweat, breaking sweat. So we're not really understanding yet how powerful imagination is and how we can use it to our advantage. But as Rob said, it could be also disadvantages if some different events kind of stir us up to imagine certain things that are not really in line.
Thank you, Mira. And we get to decide by becoming self-aware, by becoming the observer of our thoughts. What are we continue to think? When you step outside, observe what you're thinking. I teach children, and I say to the children, how do you feel when you think sad thoughts? And they go, sad, of course. How do you feel when you think happy thoughts? I mean, it's really self-explanatory, isn't it? It's simple, really.
Happy thoughts.
Happy thoughts. Maybe to close off, maybe we could all give a little tip for our viewers of what they do to every day to bring that imagination into play. I personally get up every day and thank you as I get out of bed and start to visualize the type of day I want, and that I'm becoming self-aware of that. I do a Wim Hof breathing technique every morning before I get out of bed, and when I'm breathing, I'm thinking of the light coming in, and gets my imagination going. Anyone else would like to let me know let the people know?
I have a couple of them. I go for my daily walk and I do the Wim Hof breathing as well. But one that I try to do at least every day and is when I do my workouts, I put on my house music mixes or find new music and I dance, because to me, dance is like the most, I guess it's the easiest form of self-expression, because you don't need, an artistic expression, because you don't need paints, you don't need any other medium. It's just your body. It's just letting loose, and you just use your imagination and do whatever you feel like doing. So for me, it's I do it in the basement. I don't do it in public. I just go hang out and throw on the music and dance. And to me, that's an amazing way to get your imagination, and that gets the creative juices flowing, and you really gets the energy moving through your body and your chi and everything. And so then you start getting the creativity starts flowing through you.
Yeah, I love the dancing thing. That's amazingly cool. The first thing when I jump out is, when one foot hits the floor, it's thank, and the other one's thank you for another day. But movement is the key, man. Getting up and I start moving around, dancing, jamming to some music that I really love, and that gets the creative juices flowing, and then I think about, hey, what could I create today? What can I make happen today? How can I feel good, number one, not to be selfish, but if I'm not feeling good, it's hard to help other people feel good. And then how can I help other people feel good?
I believe we're go ahead, Alan.
I have to be creative every day, or else I don't feel complete. And I go into nature, a quiet spot, and I write a poem. I try to do that every day, and one line follows the next, and it's so easy. But it's not me that's doing it; it just comes through me and through the universe, as Mira was saying.
Yeah, you write some beautiful poems, Alan, and it would take me like days to write those poems that you write. But you're tapping into the zone, and you're right. When you get out into nature and you get into that zone, you are being served. Like you're tapping in. You're an instrument, and the source is playing you through those words. But I appreciate your words and your poems. They're beautiful. They really are. And I like the same sort of things. Same thing. Get out of bed. Be grateful for the day. I get into usually an Epsom salt bath, but I've got a big window by my bathtub, and I open the window and I just do some breath work, breathing fresh air every day. And then it's even better if you can get your feet right on the earth and connect to Mother Earth, to connect to, the sun rising, and then just realize, man, this is another day. It's a gift, man. This is a present, and we're in the present moment, and we just go out there and how can I serve my source every day? And I just leave it up to the source, and it's just beautiful, the things that come into your day every day, the synchronicities, the people you meet, and you just see them all as gifts, and that's what I like to do every day.
I get up in the morning and like you guys, it's thank you. What a beautiful life, beautiful flesh, shelter. And I do the Wim Hof breathing as well. And I find my imagination and my source comes from meditation. So when I'm quiet and just focusing on my breath, I then start visualizing about what I want to experience for the day and in my life. So that's where I feel I'm starting to manifest through meditation.
Yeah.
I embrace my childlike self. And I encourage everyone to do what they liked and loved to do as children, because we need to go back to that childlike self and live life with joy and let that imagination go every which way it wants to go.
Well, if anybody loves being a kid, that's me. And I've been waking up, between 4 and 4:15 seems to be every morning, and I wake up so excited that I feel well, and I'm like, oh wow, I feel fantastic. And so I get really, I first thing I do is I go outside because it's pitch black, and I just look at the sky and I see what constellations are out there. I get a feel for what the temperature is going to be like, just take in that air, and I stretch in the dark. That way I can stretch in all different movements and no one's really seeing me. And then if I get my fingers on the piano and I close my eyes, it's amazing what different inspiration comes. And then I just visualize how I want my day to look, and I just try to give thanks and think about people who I can lift up. And yeah, it's a good way to start the day.
And Anna and Mira, I'd like to finish off by saying you both mentioned being like little children. Jesus the Christ said to enter the kingdom. To the kingdom, be as little children. And what's good enough for Jesus is good enough for me. And I'm talking about the quantum Jesus, not the religious one. So everyone, thank you for watching us, tuning in again, same time next week.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Living away for life, everybody.